All right, good morning. It's tough to follow Dr. Green. He summed everything up about what we're going to do today in facilitating these flash talk conversations. Now, how many of you have been part or have seen flash talks before? If you have, raise your hand. There's a few. You have seen it more than I have, and we're going to see it all today. So basically, in order to expand the research of MPI beyond MPI, we are inviting 5 researchers to provide information and data that they found on the nonprofit sector. And so today we're going to have an opportunity to give them 5 minutes to give a presentation, and then we're going to do a Q&A afterward where we're sitting down and answering your questions. Now, as they present, we ask that you please write down questions that you have after their presentation and pass it to the side. We'll kindly pick them up and then answer those questions. Or if you feel inclined, feel free to pick up a mic afterward when we're going around and we'll answer those questions there. All right, so are we ready to get into it?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Rashad Burden. I am a organizational culture and generational dynamics consultant. I am so happy to be able to share some of the research that I have been doing. Let me see. The up one. Okay, there we go. Oh. Right. Let's go left. Slow down. There we go. In a time long ago, families, when they came home, would actually gather and sit in front of a contraption called a radio. I don't know if anyone here has had that experience in their childhood. You fast forward a little bit longer, and families actually used to come together, not separately, not individually, but sit in front of the television. And there weren't 700 channels, apparently, in a time long ago. There were like 6 or 7 channels. And you fast forward a little bit beyond there were these contraptions. Some of them still exist. They're called laptops. And the family would come home, and particularly the teenagers would go to their rooms and open up their laptops. And there would be a tray that would pop out from the side. And they would put these artifacts called DVDs in the tray, put it back in, and watch a movie. And then, of course, today, I have a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old. They have their own personal tablets and iPads. They have the whole world in their hands. And all of these experiences have shaped the way different generations interact with people, the way they interact with technology, and the way that they move and navigate in your organizations. My research, we're going right, there we go. My research was on creative leadership in multi-generational nonprofit organizations and really perceptions of leadership in multi-generational nonprofit organizations. I focused in on 3 particular sectors. It was healthcare, education, and then the religious or the church sector. I had qualitative research. I did focus groups, 2 focus groups from each sector. I specified that I wanted at least 2 representatives from each of the 4 predominant generational cohorts presently in the workplace. So you're talking baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. I needed 2 of each from each of those sectors and sat down and did focus groups. From those focus groups, we found a bunch of stuff. 569 codes, 11 categories, but what I want to focus on are these 3 themes, how they perceived leadership in these focus groups. 3 things that really stood out was that if affiliation endears, experience galvanizes, and public management polarizes. Meaning, affiliation endears, Regardless of which generational cohort you are from, and obviously that's a big generalization, everyone has their own personal experience, views, and experiences, but regardless of what generational cohort you come from, everyone wants to show up to a place where they feel like they belong, where they feel like they are a part. And when you can create an atmosphere, a context, or a culture where people feel affiliated, it's always working in your favor. Experience galvanizes. When someone shows up to a workplace, to a nonprofit organization, they want to make sure that the person that they are following has either been to where they're trying to go or has the knowledge base and the skill set to ensure that they know what they're doing. And then lastly, public management polarizes, in particular with millennials and Gen Zers. The way that public challenges are handled will either decrease or increase their willingness to stay with you and listen, especially if something goes viral. I don't have time for that. Any organizational consultant will let you know that really all these three things are really talking about this idea of trust. To have trust within an organization, trust within a team is an indispensable ingredient. And my research showed that within the amazing organizations that are represented here, that the way that the multi-generational workforce perceives you as a leader, you as a manager, will often either take away or add to trust. One thing that I became very familiar with, one author that I became very familiar with was Patrick Lencioni. A very tangible, practical takeaway that I want you to go with is that one of the ways that you can encourage trust in your organization is by trying to humanize everyone who is a part of your team. And one of Patrick Lencioni's exercises is called the Personal Histories exercise, and it simply has people sit down and ask very simple questions about each other that basically humanizes each of them. When a millennial hears that they have in common experiences with baby boomers and Gen Xers, it lets them know that their passions can collaborate with their experience and take your organization to the next level. Thank you so much for your time, and you take care.